Hello, welcome to Steve and Mark Discuss, first podcast of the year. So, without further ado, over to Steve with the first subject of the year.
Hi people. Well, I've just come back from a little town called Limoeiro, where we've got a small holding there, and so I've been sort of, out of the loop a little bit. However, um, I had a look around at the information that's on the web and in the news and things like that, and it's left me a little bit with a flea behind my ear because it made me a little bit disappointed in what's going on in the world. Um, and I'm going to start with this one. In a memorial service of Qassem Soleimani in Iran, uh, a bomb was set off, a remote control bomb. So somebody who set off the bomb knew where the bomb was, knew who was there, and it was them that set it off. You would have thought they would have been satisfied at that, but the cowardice of the people who set off the bomb, they waited for the rescue services to arrive, other people to arrive. All of these that arrived after the first bomb were all good people because they were all wanting to help. And then they set off the second bomb. And the second bomb was the one that did the damage because everybody was sitting up and, more than 100 people died. No, don't count the wounded, and the extent of the damages. And I just think it's, look, love him or hate him, this Soleimani in Iran, he's the ex, of course. He was the guy that Donald Trump took out some years ago, and it was his fourth anniversary after his death, and he was quite a revered person in Iran. But there you go. I'm sure that there are leaders in the rest of the world that the people revere, but seen by foreign powers as not being very nice people. And you don't need to look very far to see, everybody slagging off Putin, everybody slagging off Xi, everybody, and I'm sure they've got the followers. I'm sure they've got the followers. And I'm sure that if Vladimir Putin was all of a sudden he was assassinated, a lot of Russians would be very upset. So anyway, these people that were killed in these two bomb blasts were innocent people, just like you and I. And it made me think about what value our lives have, because it could happen to us if somebody decides that they want to blow, do a plant a bomb and explode it in a public gathering here in Brazil. We're just collateral damage. We're just we don't count. We don't count. And that really disappointed me. How much value that we have as ordinary people, and we try to live an honest life. We try to do the right thing, but we're disregarded when these sort of things happen that are planned by the few. Evil people. Like I said, it wasn't the first bomb; it was the second one. And I remember, when I was a kid, uh, I, I think it was the IRA that did the same sort of tactic. They set off a bomb, and then when the emergency services arrived, they'd set off another bomb just to maximize the damage. I can't remember if it was them back then, but I recall this sort of tactic of waiting for the emergency services to arrive and then setting off a secondary device. But let me just finish this. Just to
Mm.
um, the Iranians need to find out who did it. But they need to find out really who did it. The Iranians are blaming Israel because it's it's the
Go to.
closest enemy neighbor that they
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
But they seem to forget that on the 28th of December, Lindsey Graham, an American senator, he used the words of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, reportedly used to say about the Knesset in Israel. What Lindsey Graham said on the 28th of December, he said that they should blow the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps off the map. Um, and those words will, it wasn't the headquarters that was hit, but it was the Soleimani um, supporters, if you like,
Yeah.
who went to the ceremony, and you know they tried to do the maximum amount of damage. I'm sure that Lindsey Graham will be really happy. Iran could blame Israel, but just like uh, Ukraine, there could be somebody behind it
Yeah.
who sponsored it, and it was Israel that just executed what the others wanted to do. Um, however, your thoughts on that?
Well,
Let's go.
okay. With when we talk about managing humanity to man, I mean, yeah, I'm somebody that's read extensively about this. It's never a surprise. We are dreadful creatures, really, to put it bluntly. Not all of us, as you quite rightly say. It's the few who've had so much hate. But this aside, it doesn't make any sense. I've been seeing this though. If Israel, they've already got enough trouble on one front at the moment. And despite what we say, are they winning the war against the Hamas? We don't know. They're being successful, but there's a big difference between being successful and winning. They've still got issues there. They're not going to look to set up another front. Really, seriously. I mean, yes. They're already hated. Okay. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't look like it would be the way the Israelis do. I don't think the Israelis go, funny enough, and it's controversial, for outright cold-blooded slaughter. Despite what we say about the way they've treated Arabs and things like this, there's always reasons behind this. When you're facing off a crowd that totally hates you, as a soldier or a nation even, yeah, they're not going. It doesn't make any sense, Israel doing that. They're preoccupied elsewhere. I mean, yeah, when you talk about the RA used to give coded warnings, or did at some point start to do that, give coded warnings, and then if you entered that area, then after the warning, you're responsible for your own. If you like, you understood it. I mean, yes, they used to have to do a sweep for additional explosives. It's not a new thing. The Germans did it World War I. If you went into the bunkers and all that, be careful what you did. The Vietnamese did it. Different thing. I mean, and yes, it is a terrorist tactic. It's evil. We know that. It's just anyone in a uniform by certain instances is seen as a member of the establishment. It could even be a red flag. So there's that to bear in mind as well. Somebody's done something deliberately. It possibly not connected directly with it, who are trying to whip up hatred against Israel, stroke the US.
I was chatting to somebody the other day about this, and they said, "Do you think it could be that the Iranians themselves did it as an excuse to bomb Israel?" And I said, "Well, there are so many deaths in that. I don't think Iran would do that to their own people. However, like I said, it could be by proxy.
Yeah.
I mean, listening to Lindsey Graham,
Yeah.
listening to what's going on there, it's all heating up, and somebody's trying to get Iran and Israel to have a
I
real
mean,
good go.
I mean, Israel have already said that they are watching Iran and will deal with Iran at a later date. It still doesn't make any sense. Israel doing anything in Iran. They'll, they know that they're already fighting Iran by proxy.
But I'm not saying Israel doing anything against Iran. I'm
No,
trying. What I'm trying to say is that Iran try and do something against Israel
well, of course, yeah, and they're looking
because
for
they're
reasons
trying
to
to
blame.
draw Iran in and not Israel. Israel is already in the mix.
Well, Iran are already in the mix by proxy. Um, and that's known. Um, and let's be honest, Iran don't have any lovers around the Middle East anyway, or not
No,
many. They've always been seen as a bit of a problem. um, yeah, they want to break the Abraham's Accord or whatever else. So we are talking about. I mean, I've been doing quite a bit of reading recently. I mean, when you start, and I don't have to use props, but yeah, when you start reading about the whole history of the area, the region, it's always been a bit like this. We're not. There's never been an entire peace in the Holy Land or in that
yeah,
region at all. I mean, yeah, I'm going to include Iran and there was a part of the Holy Land as well. There's always been issues. There's always been tensions, conflicts, power play. It's probably worse than Europe for actually power play when you go back historically. I mean, we're talking about BC. So nothing from that region surprises me. Yes, I think people would quite happily sacrifice others for their own ends, even if it was their own brethren. Um,
uh,
yeah,
I don't know. I think modern times would. If we're talking about in the old days, in the really old days, where people died when they were 30 anyway,
no, that's a bit
and
that's a bit of a myth. I mean, yeah, the life expectancy was probably about 40, 50.
yeah,
But
well, you know what I mean. But I
yeah,
mean, I think I'm sure that this day and age, it could be that I'm putting too much faith in society,
I,
my
I'm
man.
I'm afraid
But
you're normally the cynical one, and I'm normally the one who says, I'm afraid when it comes to human nature and human thing, I think that I, I haven't got that much faith. And the more history that I read, and the more I read about particularly that area, and the more I read about history across Europe, especially Eastern Europe, I just don't have that much faith. And I'm a Christian. Um, and so yeah, I'm a Catholic. I was born guilty, but yeah, um, it is a very strange times we are living in. I'm actually trying to write an article for somewhere at the moment all about this. Um, yes, getting a bit too philosophical, but I'm afraid you do with this kind of thing. Yeah, start yeah. When you start getting philosophical, you lose the facts, but the facts will follow the philosophy. Um,
I don't know. Like I said, it's just since the new year I've felt like this. I don't know if my biorhythms have gone all haywire, but I just thought this thing about Iran was the biggest act of cowardice,
well,
and and the value that we put on people,
te
which
te
is none.
terrorism is cowardice. Terrorism is cowardice. Remote bombs are the absolute cowards. Tool weapons.
Yeah,
Um, and the trouble is, I could probably. I'm not saying I will, and please, YouTube, don't pick me up. With my electronics knowledge, I could probably. I mean, you can do it with a mobile phone quite easily. It's not a big stretch now. We've got the technology to do it easier than probably we've ever had in the past. The RA could do it back in the 70s.
yeah. Well, they have done. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you could fly aeroplanes remotely and things like this, I was into at one point, and cars. Um, sorry, I didn't want cars in the airplane, but yeah, you can actually you can certainly wire up a bomb, a device that would click onto a switch or pull something, and bang, it's not impossible to detonate. I mean, yeah, it's an awful thing. Yeah, I forgot that there was a term for it. Yeah, I mean, it's a booby trap, or it's not even a booby trap, it's a deliberate thing. Yeah, there used to be the booby traps and things like this, but yeah, to wait until people come and then add more chaos. But it's not a new technique, as we know. It's something that we're probably going to see more and more of in the world. We are living in turbulent times.
I think it's important to say at this point, Mark, that you and I are both pacifists.
We absolutely are. We understand. We know. Well, I read more.
Thinking of newfangled ideas of how to blow people up, and let's just
Yeah, we are passive. Yeah. No, I know how to just. No, I'm not saying that. Algorithm would pick us up on that one. Yeah, yeah. We got a sense of humor about it. Yeah, so many people died. We're still laughing, but it's a which is part of the human spirit, actually.